The things that you don't do are every bit as important as the things that you do when it comes to accomplishing what it is that you would like to accomplish. When it comes to getting in shape, going to the gym is just as important as not being someone who skips workouts. Doing all of the exercises you're supposed to do is just as important as not being someone who talks themselves out of it because they've already done enough. When you want to get abs, the things that you eat are just important as the things that you don't eat. The amount of food that you eat is just as important as the amount of food that you don't eat. When it comes to making money, the work that you do is just as important as the distractions that you ignore or the things that you turn down. The not doing is every bit as important as the doing. And on some level, people understand this. When I talk about not drinking alcohol, there are people who agree and there are people who fight it tooth and nail. When I talk about not smoking weed, there are people who agree and there are people who fight this with whatever ridiculous examples it is that they could come up with. When I talk about not watching porn, some people agree and some people fight this as well. What I've learned is that everyone is willing to agree with the idea that you need to make sacrifices as long as it's not the thing they believe that they need to sacrifice. I said the other day something about not taking naps, and a bunch of people freaked out. These are the same people who agree with the idea that dropping alcohol from your life will help you get farther. These are the same people who agree that not smoking weed will help you get farther. These are the same people who agree that not watching porn will help you get farther. But when they heard the thing about their little daytime siestas, all of a sudden it was a big thing because they agree with the idea that you should make sacrifices, but they're not willing to sacrifice the thing that they want to have, whether or not it's holding them back or preventing them from being better. And I'm sorry to tell you, my friends, but that is the only true sacrifice, is the thing that you truly don't want to give up. It is the thing that you truly want to hold on to, even though it might not be the best thing for you. That is the true sacrifice. It is the thing that you could come up with all of the justifications for why it is that it is helping you, that you need to let go if you are ever going to get to where it is that you would like to be in life. Because like it or not, all of these things are keeping you from being your best self. Are there successful people who take naps? Yes, absolutely. Are there athletes who take naps? Yes, absolutely. Same thing for the bodybuilders, but their whole entire goal, their whole entire life, their whole entire livelihood, and everything that they do is based around them being in the best physical condition possible. So taking what it is that they do and trying to apply it to your life, if you're not in a similar situation, is absolutely a ridiculous concept and idea. What they do has nothing to do with you. If you are not a professional athlete, if you are not a professional bodybuilder or a coal miner, then naps are not helping you in the way that it is that you believe. Because what is most important is your time and making the absolute best usage of your time. Just like when you go out and you get drunk, what that is taking from you, even if you ignore the idea that it's damaging to your health, it is taking away your time. It is taking your time from something that could be more productive in leading you towards your goals, not only while you're doing it, but the next day while you're recovering from doing it. That is the cost of it. Same thing with when you smoke weed. That is taking away from your time that you could be doing something productive, not only while you're doing it, but your recovery from doing it. Your coming down from the high is costing you your time. And when you take your little nap in the middle of the day, that is costing you time that you could be used towards accomplishing whatever goals it is that you might have. You could be building your business, you could be increasing your money, you could be getting in better shape, whatever the case may be. And that is taking away valuable time from being able to do that. And not only that, but when you partake in any of these activities, you are only reinforcing the need to partake in these particular activities. When you take a midday nap in the middle of the day every single day, at a certain point, when the middle of the day starts coming around, you're automatically going to be tired because that's what you have conditioned yourself to do, and that is what you have conditioned yourself to indulge. But it goes in the opposite direction as well. When you get tired and you push through it, you are also conditioning yourself to be less affected by the sleepiness, by the drowsiness, by the exhaustion, whatever the case may be. All of these things are fostered by how it is that you deal with them. When you wake up early in the morning and you go back to sleep because you are tired, you are reinforcing the idea that you need to go back to sleep when you are tired. But when you wake up in the morning and are tired and you get up anyway, you are reinforcing with yourself that you don't need to be the most well rested in order to get out of bed, and therefore are increasing your skill in being able to do so. You are increasing your skill in being able to work when you are in a less than ideal position physically, mentally, however it is that you would like to look at it. But the point is, as a whole, that's a mildly separate tangent, is for whatever it is that you would like to do, you are going to have to sacrifice something. Life is a trade-off. You cannot have everything. You cannot be perfectly comfortable all of the time and incredibly successful. You cannot also not be incredibly well rested all of the time and as successful as you can possibly be. There is going to be something that you have to give up. Period. It does not matter. You're going to have to give up foods that you like, or at the very least, the amount of foods that you like. You are going to have to give up some of your free time, some of your leisure time, some of your Netflix, your video game time. You are going to have to give up something in order to get to where it is that you want to be. That is what life is about as a whole. It is constantly making trade-offs of what it is that you prefer. The universe will always give you exactly what it is that you value the most. Whenever you go and you take your nap in the middle of the day, what you are showing is that what you value most is rest, not results specifically. So when you give that up, you are by extension showing that what you value is getting stuff done and getting whatever it is that you get from getting things done, and that is what you will be given. When you drink, you are showing that you value being intoxicated and escaping the moment more than making the most of the moment, and that is what you will be given. You will get a bunch of moments that you feel the need to escape from, and then you will be able to escape them because that's what it is that makes you happy. All things are trade-offs. All things are value exchanges. I have a bunch of tattoos, and that shows that I value having random pictures on me more than I value not being in pain. So that is exactly what it is that I have. Nothing comes without a cost. Nothing comes without a price. Nothing comes without sacrifice. And you can go and do all of the things that you find to be the most enjoyable all of the time. And in each of those moments, you will probably have a perfectly lovely moment. You will, as a whole, as a whole, you will probably have much better moments on a moment-by-moment basis than if you did the things that you know that you are supposed to do. You will enjoy that cheeseburger much more than you will that chicken and rice. But the trade-off for that is the body that you want, because only eating things that you enjoy, if you're like most people, is how you wind up being fat and out of shape and in terrible health and all kinds of health problems and having issues breathing when you do simple things like walk up the stairs or talk for extended periods of time. That is the trade-off that you are making for that. When you sleep in, you are making the trade-off of rest over work, and you will probably enjoy your sleeping in, but the cost of that is your potential. It is the cost of that is you getting to where it is that you want to be and accomplishing the things that you would like to accomplish. You will probably feel better in the moment when you skip the workout, but what you are sacrificing when you skip the workout is, again, the body that you want, because every single thing has a trade-off. If you want to be comfortable all of the time, that's fine. You can absolutely do that. But what that's costing you is your potential and all of the things that you want to accomplish, because every single thing that you want to do lies outside of your comfort zone. If it was in your comfort zone, you would already have it, but it can't. So by definition, you have to step outside of it in order to do it, because you have to do new things in order to get new things. And everything that is in your comfort zone, by definition, is things that you are already used to. It is things that you have been doing for quite some time. That is how you got comfortable there. So you have to sacrifice your comfort if you would like to be great. You have to sacrifice your fun if you would like to be successful. You have to sacrifice your rest if you would like to be in much better shape. You are always going to have to sacrifice something and give something up. And people inherently understand that until it comes down to sacrificing the things that they are unwilling to give up. But until you are willing to give up those things, you are never going to get as far as you possibly can. You are only holding yourself back by insisting on hanging on to certain things or trying to make exceptions or find workarounds or whatever the case may be. But there are no exceptions to these things. There are no workouts to these things. No matter what you do, you are paying the price of something. So the question is, what is the price that you are willing to pay? Are you willing to pay with your now, or are you willing to pay with your later? Because if you want a good later, then you are going to have a difficult now. And if you want to have a good now, then you are going to have a very difficult later. It is that simple, and it works that way in every single situation. But just know that whichever one you have last, you are going to have longest. The now one, whether it's good or bad, is fleeting and is temporary. The pain of doing what it is that you were supposed to do is temporary, and that will eventually turn into the pleasure of getting the things that you want. And the pleasure of doing the things that you want to do now is temporary as well. It is fleeting, and that will eventually give way to the pain that comes from doing all of those things. Most people sacrifice their laters for their nows, and then they wonder why it is they wind up in all of these terrible positions. They wonder why they're depressed. They wonder why they're broke. They wonder why they're out of shape. They wonder why they don't have good relationships, because that is the price that they chose to pay when they only wanted to do what felt good in the moment. The people who have the life that you want, the people who have the money that you want, the body that you want, the relationship that you want, the car that you want, the house that you want, understand that they had to sacrifice their now for those things, and they were more than willing to do so, because the payoff is much greater than the pay in, or I guess the payout is much greater than the pay in, however it is that you would like to word it. So if you are not where it is that you want to be, it is because you have been choosing to pay the wrong price. You have been choosing to sacrifice your later for your now. Until you flip that, you are always going to be in a position that you do not want to be in, and you will continue to further get yourself there, and it will become harder and harder to get yourself out of. Because again, the things that you have later are the things that you have longest. And by the time you're 300-400 pounds, it is much harder to get in shape than when you're 200 pounds, when you're 180 pounds, whatever the case may be. When you are super broke and you start winding up in the negatives where you're tens of thousands of dollars in debt, it is much harder to turn that around and get that into the positive plus very high that it is when it is that you are starting off at zero. So if you take a look at your life and you see that you are objectively not where you want to be, then as of right now, this exact moment, you need to start sacrificing your nows so you can have what you want later. And again, that all starts with your mindset. It starts with a perspective shift in the way that you are looking for things. Stop seeking instant gratification, because it is that instant gratification that leads to long-term suffering. And if you need help shifting your mindset, shifting your perspective, click the link in the description, join the Discord communities. We talk about all kinds of ways to do that and perspective shifts to help you get on the right track to being where it is that you would like to be.